What's up, guys? Welcome to Thoughts by Mara with me, Mara Sullivan. Today's episode is about things that help me to keep my life from revolving around work, working to live, not living to work. I will be doing a little deep dive into Italian culture and lifestyle. Just like I've always had this love affair with New York City, I feel the same way about Italy. Almost the same. New York is forever the love of my life, but Italy is a very, very close second, and I have not even been there yet. But one of my hobbies is taking a lot of virtual trips to Italy through travel vlogs, travel guide videos, books, movies, listening to music only in Italian. I'm about to start learning Italian, just doing some Duolingo, taking free language classes online. My entire personality, aside from being a Gen Z grandma, is being a romantic and a bit of a foodie. I love love. I love romance. And my top love language is food. I always say my love language is all of them. Physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, and gifts. All of them are my love language. Do it all for me, baby. But I love good food. I am a picky eater, but what I like, I love, and particularly good, high quality, fresh food, organic or as organic as possible. And Italy does take the quality of food very seriously. Food is the entire love language of Italy. I'm also just such an artist at heart and a lover of art, and most Italians believe that life without art is no life at all, and that's exactly how I feel. I'll be talking about the myth of work-life balance, or even the myth of balance in general. I believe in harmony, but perfect balance is pretty fleeting. Like, it's not always sustainable. Balance comes and goes. And so I believe the goal should not be balance, but just having the right priorities at the right time. One of my favorite movie quotes from Eat, Pray, Love, when one of the men says, Americans know entertainment, but they do not know pleasure. And that has always stuck with me because our society is so fast-paced and chase-focused. There's kind of an obsession with the chase and the checking off the next box, climbing the ladder. And I love ambition. I am ambitious. I've, certainly have benefited from and am benefiting from hustle culture and working hard and paying my dues and all these things. But I also know that it's easy in American culture to not prioritize the things that are the most important, the relationships, the people you love, turning back around and remembering to say thank you to the people who help you to get to where you are, not always treating elders with the care and respect that they deserve, not taking care of our bodies and our health, letting bad food be the norm. All these little negative things that can be easy to fall into the trap of doing here in the US. And not just here, obviously, no country is all good or all bad. I'm just speaking from my own experience growing up here so far. A more leisurely, laid back, less is more approach to life is not necessarily built into our culture over here. It's quite literally the opposite. Just like most of us have to take our health into our own hands here, the same can be said for rest and peace, breaks, leisure. It's something many of us have to do for ourselves because those usually are not things that we're taught to prioritize. I've also heard foreigners who observe Americans say that a lot of Americans tend to do this weird operating in extremes thing. Like take the celery juice craze thing that happened a while back when celery juice was a big deal, or when kale became an obsession or avocados took over. Sometimes in our culture, we hear something is good for us and we have to have it every single day for the rest of our lives. When people from the outside looking in are like, okay, avocados are good for you, but damn, we all y'all know what I mean? We just take things so seriously here. Routines are also a huge one. I feel like more and more people are now realizing that doing the exact same thing at the exact same time every day just is not sustainable. It's unrealistic for most of our lives, and there is nothing wrong with that. I've learned to have my little priorities list each day, do what I can do when I can do it. I have put the emphasis on getting the thing done, not on the specific time all the time. As long as it gets done, that's the most important thing. I need to exercise if I'm exhausted, and I can keep I can sleep in if I'm going to sleep in, if I can, and not exercise first thing in the morning, but I will get it done in the afternoon or in the evening. It's not the end of the world if I'm on my treadmill. If I'm not on my treadmill at 5 a.m., there's nothing wrong with having specific strict routines, but I think it's important to not be too extreme or too obsessive. My life personally just became so much easier when I became more flexible, not with like with super important actual timed events and meetings and things like that. My biggest pet peeve is wasting time. Like someone wasting my time, me wasting someone else's time. It's just rude. I believe in having good, clear communication, being professional, being respectful, but flexible sometimes in terms of not letting a change ruin your entire day, or being able to be spontaneous sometimes and just switch things up. But let's get into not letting your entire life revolve around work. I'm actually going to be an assistant teacher this summer at a school that I used to intern at. I'm going to be working there for their summer school. The principal said if I like it, if all goes well, I can stay on for the school year in the fall. And so that's exciting. I've always worked a lot, but I've never been pressed to have a certain job or job title. I work jobs that I'm so sorry, you guys. That was very loud. If you could hear that horn just now. I work jobs that I enjoy, but I am an artist, a creative at heart. And honestly, I'm a homemaker at heart, honestly. Like I've always just always had a pretty fluid relationship with work and the jobs that I do. I love making myself useful. I love serving a purpose and of course making a living. Lately, I've been doing little things like letting myself stay up later some nights or indulge more in things like this and working on content, journaling, reading, staying out later if I'm out, which all seem like small things, but I'm used to working long shifts. And even though I need rest, I'm not compromising doing things that I love often because I know I have to work. But there are days that I know will be longer than others, and I do have to plan around work. That's why I think work-life balance is a myth. If you have a job or career, it's just going to take up a lot of your time, especially if you're doing something that you actually enjoy and that you're passionate about. It can be easy to just live, breathe, eat, sleep, constantly thinking about whatever you do for a living because it's usually just a part of who you are. No matter how much we love, hate, need our jobs, whatever your relationship to your job or to your career is, everyone needs a break at some point to avoid burnout. And I love having habits, routines, things that help me detach on a daily basis. Hobbies, you guys. Hobbies and a social life are keys for me when it comes to detaching from work. My number one hobby being this podcast, and soon, filming more on camera, YouTube videos, and other creative projects that I want to dedicate more time to. I am aware that if and when these projects get monetized, it will become a job, but I already viewed this as part of my work anyway. I think any artist, any creative will tell you creating is so much work. It is very time consuming. Art comes directly from the person, and so it can take up like your entire being. Like it just takes a lot of mental energy to create, and adding technology into it is a different beast. Editing, graphic design with YouTube, being on camera, lighting, scripts, there is so much behind the scenes of any and every art form. Books, music, social media, visual art, blogs, influencing, all of it is work. But creating is my happy place, sharing things that I'm doing, sharing things that I'm going through, learning about, things that have helped me, sharing my interest in things I'm into, and being able to build a little community of people who I have things in common with, or just enjoy listening to, people that enjoy listening to my story and things that I'm sharing. It's fun. I think the main key to avoid things like burnout or resenting work or living to work instead of working to live is to have fun. Like once you're not having fun with the things that you do, it will literally suck the life out of you. Make a list, a Pinterest board, a mood board, whatever you're into. It can be in your notes app, whatever, but make a list of the things that you actually have fun doing, not just things that make you happy, but things that you have fun doing. And because I'm a nerd, of course I had to look up the definition of fun just now, because it's a different feeling than happy. By definition, fun is enjoyment, amusement, or lighthearted pleasure. Ask yourself right now, what is one fun thing that you did today? And if you have no answer, we just got work to do, babe. Like, I know we have responsibilities. Life is not fair. Politics are a mess. There's always something to be negative about. But making a promise to yourself to at least try to enjoy your life on a daily basis is going to drastically improve your life. And it's summertime too. Go ride a roller coaster, go play some arcade games, go play hopscotch, jump rope, bowl, roller skate, watch a comedy, find a comedy show, be spontaneous, get out of your comfort zone, do something out of character, something that you would not normally do. I'm learning some Italian, like I said before. And I get unbelievably shy to speak aloud, like out loud in another language. It is so embarrassing for me. Going all the way back to childhood in Spanish class, I actually, if you guys have listened to any episodes I did talking about college, I almost straight up like failed Spanish in college and almost did not graduate on time because I straight up skipped the final. Like I skipped the oral part of the final where I had to have a conversation with my teacher in Spanish, and I legit just didn't show up. Like I didn't show up because I was that terrified to speak in another language like out loud. Luckily, my teacher let me reschedule, but it's something I've always been terrified to do. Like I will write in the language, but I get painfully shy to speak out loud. And now that I've just gotten older and just naturally care less about making mistakes and don't really care about embarrassing myself as much, it's so much easier to just talk out loud, even with like Duolingo and following along on YouTube videos and stuff. Eventually I will have an in-person teacher that I'll be talking to in Italian. I know that I need to learn Spanish first, like that is the most useful one here, but I'll probably end up doing both. But I'm just so much more comfortable and confident because I've genuinely adopted this mindset of doing my best to not care about what other people think. And it's really not about other people. I don't feel bad, for not being perfect because no one is. Dressing up for me is also one of my favorite ways to feel more alive and to detach from work because I work with kids, and so I don't really get to dress up too often. I don't dress up every day, but like at my core, I am a 5-inch heels girly. I am a big hair, burgundy lipstick, sexy outfit kind of gal. I feel most myself in heels. I feel most myself in a going out outfit. I feel most myself with long hair, nails done, looking good, feeling really good. I also have to constantly remind myself that I am literally 26 years old. Like Kylie Jenner, when she was like, these are the years I'm supposed to be naked, tits out, ass out. That is exactly like how I feel looks wise. Like work me and after work me are two completely different people. We all know I'm such a grandma and I'm basically like trying to live a retired lifestyle at 26. But most things about me are 80 years old, but I do love to dress like I am in my 20s. That is the one area I am not fully a grandma. Sometimes with fun, there's an embarrassment element to it, or like being viewed as silly or childish or weird or cringe. When it comes to social media, I definitely have to have a not care personality when I'm sharing things online and on here, and definitely on camera on YouTube videos, because it is very hard to be on camera for anyone who does it. But life is so much more fun and freeing when you give yourself permission to not give a F. Like, just not give a flying Fruit Loop. If you want to go do something, do it. And I promise you, no one cares as much as you think they do. People are so consumed in their own world. Everyone's looking at their phone anyway. Like, everyone's in their own bubble. No one is ever paying as much attention to you as you think they are. And if they are, give them something to look at. Shoot, like, if you're looking that hard, you need to buy me a drink or something. Like, doing the podcast and doing YouTube are fun for me. Spending time with people who make me feel good is fun. Reading fiction is fun. I always say fiction is a great escape from my own world, from my own life. That definitely goes along with work. Reading fiction is such a good escape from my own head and lets me get into someone else's world. It's escapism, but I also just learn as much from fiction as I do from nonfiction. I learn probably more because fiction has so many different types of characters from different types of places, and they all have these different stories. It just expands my view of people and of the world because the settings are always different. I'm currently reading A Christmas Story, which is so weird because it's basically July though. Like, it is July, so I guess I'm having my own little Christmas in July. I'm reading the story The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. It's a book that I started but I never finished like years ago, but it was still in my Kindle library, and I just decided to click on it after I finished the Kennedy Ryan series that I just finished, the Soul series, Soul series. It's 3 books. My Soul to Keep, Down to My Soul, and Refrain are the 3 books in Kennedy Ryan's Soul series, just drama romance vibes. I finished that, and The Christmas Fix is definitely more lighthearted. It's a Christmas romance, and so it's a little Hallmark vibes, but it's not that cheesy. Like, it's a fun, cute read so far. I'm halfway through. I've pretty much just been alternating between Kennedy Ryan and Lucy Score books for the past 2 to 3 years for fiction. I just love that they write in series, and they both just have so many books. The storylines and the characters are also just so well written and like super in depth, and of course romantic. I've also been listening to the radio a lot, which has been fun and very nostalgic. Most mornings on my way to work now, I listen to my radio on my phone. I live in Baltimore, and so I pretty much rotate between Magic 95.9, 92Q, and Heaven 600. I forgot how much I love the Ricky Smiley Morning Show because I have not listened to the radio in years, but I used to all the time growing up. Like, I did listen to the Steve Harvey like radio show pretty consistently about like 2 years back. I would say that's the last time that I really listened to the radio like on a daily basis. But listening to radio is such a vibe. When I'm in the mood for just when I'm not in the mood for just a podcast or just a playlist, radio it's just a variety. Like, it's mostly music, of course, but it's entertainment, it's talk shows, news, pop culture, comedy. It's just such a vibe. And even at work when I'm on breaks, the radio is just a nice background entertainment. I listen directly on the radio station's like website or on the app. Some of my other favorite things to do: take virtual tours of places that I want to go to, watch vlogs, documentaries, read books about places and the culture and the must-see things to do. Italy, of course, hotels and places I want to visit. I talked about the really good video I watched on the Beverly Hills Hotel on my last episode. I watch a lot of New Orleans videos, vlogs, must-sees, the history, the culture, the food, music, voodoo. I'm such a jazz lover and like lover of food, and so I'm already in love with New Orleans. That's another place that I have not been to yet, but I already know I'm gonna love it. I go to New York all the time, and there's still so much that I haven't seen, and so I watch videos, I read up on blogs and books on all the same stuff, like the history, the culture, the places that I still have to go to in New York and I haven't been to yet. Movies set in places I love is also super fun for me to do. As like part of my hobbies list, I love the old movies. What's the one called? Paris When It Sizzles with Audrey Hepburn. Super good. Paris Blues with Sidney Poitier and Paul Newman. It does not get more classic than that. Like, they're just phenomenal. I love watching movies set all over the world. I love listening to different music in different languages, Pinterest boarding, home decor ideas to, enhance my space. There are so many different ways to detach from work, career, job, when you have other things that you're into. Things that you do solely for you, not for a check, not for validation, not for being productive, but just because it's fun. Like those things that you have that you do because it makes you happy. Journaling, I love, of course. I literally just brain dump when I journal. I write about how I'm feeling, how my life is lately, things that I want to do, things I'm processing, working through, things that I'm happy about, sad about, all the feels, what I'm loving, hating, changes happening, changes I want to make, any plans. I write about any and everything. I've also gotten back into watching cooking shows because I've been on such a huge Ina Garten kick. I've been having Barefoot Contessa on in the background, or Cartier Brown. I love her show, Delicious Miss Brown. They're probably my top 2 favorite cooking shows to watch or to rewatch. Cartier Brown actually just opened a restaurant in Charleston's airport, and I promise you I am taking a trip to Charleston just to eat in the airport at her restaurant. Like, I absolutely will. Nashville is another place that I virtually visit often and I have not been to yet. Planning trips is definitely one of my hobbies, as you can tell, and I don't have to set a date or anything, but it's just like a vision board of things that I want to do, keeping little running lists of places I want to go and things that I want to see. I love the quote, "There's no work-life balance, there's just life." Like, there's work-life integration because work is a part of life. And for most people, the biggest part, it'll be the biggest part depending on the season of life that you're in. Sometimes chasing balance can feel like you'll never be satisfied. It's just, it's less trying to balance and more doing what you can when you can each day. At least in my opinion, that's how it is. Having your main priorities, staying on top of things enough that you do so that you don't feel like you're always falling behind. That's usually just a sign of having too much on your plate or overthinking. Just keeping things as simple and straightforward is what works best for me. Avoiding decision fatigue by having my go-to things so that I can save my brain energy for the bigger things. Before I do a little deep dive into Italian lifestyle, Italian culture, I just want to say that many Italians work many, many hours. Many of them experience stress, overwhelm, I'm sure financial difficulty, health issues, all the same problems that humans everywhere around the world experience all the time. I do not want to make it seem like Italy is this perfect place and Italians have it all figured out, because I don't want to make it seem like they, just live this pleasure-filled lifestyle and this life of ease and perfection 24/7, 365. That pretty much does not exist anywhere for anyone, no matter where you are in the world. I just want to preface that before I get into the romance and the leisure of it all, especially since I haven't been to Italy. I'm learning. Everything I'm learning is from observation, reading, watching, consuming content of people who live there, reading posts and watching videos of Italians who have shared the non-romanticized parts about life in Italy. There's always 2 sides to every coin. Just like America can be easily glamorized, it has its pros, and we all know it has its cons too. Like, that goes for every country. What I will be talking about is the general mindset of many, not all, but many Italians, and the general lifestyle and the approach to life that's a little more focused on simplicity and relationships and genuine connection and fresh, natural, whole, organic food and products, spontaneity, romance, art, culture. It's just not as stiff and individualized or obsessive and greedy as life can be here in the US. Not as focused on the chase, of more, but getting to a place of contentment and gratitude for the simple things while also being ambitious and successful, glamorous, and, still getting whatever you want out of life. The ways of going about it are just a little different. There's a reason why the idea of European summers exist and why romanticizing your life became a huge trend in movies like Eat, Pray, Love and Under the Tuscan Sun, and books like Eat, Pray, F My Life, like the true stories of these women who go through heartbreak and go to Europe and have these life-changing experiences. And it's so healing and comforting because the lifestyle and the culture, the mindset is just so different. By the way, if you have never seen the movie Under the Tuscan Sun or read the book Eat, Pray, F My Life by Gabrielle Stone, those are 2 of my absolute favorites. Aside from Eat, Pray, Love, which we all know is a classic, shows like Emily in Paris became so popular, even though so many people hate it. I love that show, but most people just hate watch it. Like, even though they don't really like it, most people still watch it, even the ones that don't like it, because most of us like the idea of that escape, like the idea of that more romantic, less toxic, less chaotic approach to life than we sometimes experience here in the States. I've already talked about working to live, not living to work. And that is the number one slogan of European lifestyle in general. It's not that work is not important for Europeans, or it's not that they're not incredibly hardworking, ambitious, successful. Many of them are. Their relationship with work and the idea of getting ahead just seems to be more healthy, I guess, and more holistic than many Americans. Like I said earlier, in the US, we tend to operate in extremes, and that can create small-mindedness. It can create being hyper-independent, individualistic, my way or the highway, all or nothing. Just this really rigid, stiff approach to life. Ideas like my religion or my politics works for me, and so everyone else is wrong or bad. Or my way of eating works for me, so everyone else who eats different is wrong or bad. Waking up at 5 a.m. works for me, and so everyone who does not is a lazy bum with no ambition and no drive. Parenting is a huge one that's becoming so toxic with social media. The mom shaming is insane. Again, just like that extreme mindset. I raise my kids like this, and anyone else who does it different is bad or wrong. A lot of people are losing just the ability to remember that no one is perfect. Everyone is just doing the best they can. That empathy, remembering that nothing is black and white. There's nuances to everything. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. All this to say, I think part of the romanticization of European lifestyle is that emphasis on social life, on relationships, on being able to listen and have conversations and even heated debates. Italians are known for being very passionate about their views, but it seems to not be in a mean or demeaning, shameful way that tends to happen here. If that makes sense. Like, just from the outside looking in, Americans I know who have traveled to Europe, spent time in Italy and other European countries, the number one thing they all say is that most of the people are just more relaxed. It's less about you're right and I'm wrong. It's more about just being able to learn from someone else's perspective, being curious, being interested, being open-minded. And I think that comes from many Europeans having such a strong love and appreciation for art. Most Italians especially believe that there is beauty in every single thing. Not only do they appreciate art, aesthetics, beauty, but they believe that everything is art and that everything has beauty. That just makes life more free-flowing, more romantic. That is what romanticizing your life is. Adopting that European mindset of being able to find the beauty in everything, from the smallest things, for me, my cup of tea, fresh air, sunshine, to the biggest things for me, like traveling, live shows, live music, theater, making a house my home, and that love and appreciation for art makes Italy arguably the romance capital of the world. When I was researching for this episode, I found this article that said in American culture, romance is often reserved for major milestones, holidays, birthdays. Daily life tends to prioritize work, goals, independence. Romantic gestures are usually special highlights rather than constant background music. In Italian culture, almost any and everything can be romantic. Like, it's never turned off. It's constant background music. That article said in Italy, love feels woven into every day like a living soundtrack. In America, love tends to be showcased in chapters and special moments. And the Italian view of romance is basically the root of my obsession with the Italian culture as a whole, because adapting the mindset of I don't need a special day or reason or even another person to live a romantic life. And romance, self-care, self-love does not have to be this grandiose, expensive, elaborate thing. Again, that American just mindset of extremism where like everything has to be a thing. Like, no, like just relax. It doesn't take much. The Italian view of simplicity is right up my alley. Literally today, I DoorDashed myself 2 dozen roses from Wegmans. They were only $15 a dozen. Great quality and they're stunning. I know I love fresh roses, and I don't have to get them from a florist all the time. I don't have to make it a huge big deal. When I'm buying groceries, I can just add a dozen roses or two to my cart because they make me happy. I don't do it all the time, but it's one of my favorite things to do. I'm not big on flowers in general, but roses are my entire personality. I'll even write, my own little note to myself and stick it in the bouquet, throw in a $3 chocolate bar of dark chocolate, and I'm in my own personal heaven. It really does not take much. My go-to dark chocolate is any of the ones that are 85% and over. If I'm lounging around, I'll throw on this same little Skims lounge dress that I've had for years. It feels super sexy. It's the long slip dress. I, of course, got it on sale years ago. It's the sparkly pink one. It's super comfortable, super flattering, super cute. Makes me feel like I am on a whole date, just lounging around my house, doing these outlines, getting work done. Romance and love are part of my everyday lifestyle, my routines, not just on holidays or special days, and definitely not only if I'm in a relationship. Absolutely not. I also read that most things about Italy are just naturally more sensual and erotic. The cars, the motorcycles, the food, the fashion is very heavy on the senses. Like I said earlier, Europe tends to be more free-flowing when it comes to things than in the States, and sex, sensuality is a major one. There's usually so much shame and even embarrassment around those topics in this country, where there are, in lots of places. But I've heard about, in Paris especially, they literally just let it all hang out. Things are on display and it's usually seen as art. A lot of European places have the topless beaches and things like that. A lot of things just aren't as big a deal. Americans can be so freaking uptight, so conservative, so stiff about everything. And I think that's usually why Americans travel to Europe and see that there are places, when they travel to Europe, they see that there are places in the world where things are just more relaxed, and it's so eye-opening and it changes so many people's perspectives. I went to see Usher's concert movie last year with my cousin, and the one he put on in theaters, which I think is on streaming now, is his Paris show. And both my cousin and I had seen Usher live here in the States when he came to Baltimore last year. And the Paris version of the show was so much different. It was way freakier. It was way more loose. When we left the theater, I remember my cousin was like, I'm glad he didn't have that same set here because that was way too much booty. He put on a great show here, don't get me wrong, but it was definitely more sensually elevated in Paris. That's just how Paris is, and artists know that. Artists know that when they perform over there, it's probably so much more freeing, knowing that they can get away with stuff that, would be so much bigger a deal if they did it over here, because so many people here just get freaked out so easily. And to me, it's just funny. I know everyone has their different, comfortability levels, and I respect everyone's comfort level, but it's just really interesting to note the differences. Of course, I cannot talk about Italy without talking about food. Food is basically the love language of Italy: the pasta, the pizza, the coffee, the gelato, bread, cheese, wine, charcuterie. And the emphasis is on simple, fresh ingredients. I personally pretty much eat 85% organic. Anyone who goes to Europe and eats pasta, comes back to America, always talks about how the pasta there does not have the same effect as pasta here, which tends to make people bloated, feel super heavy, have gut issues. Whenever I make pasta at home, I use organic pasta. I usually get it on Amazon. It's literally $2. Most places, I notice a huge difference in how my body looks and feels when I simply just eat food with as minimal ingredients as possible, as organic as possible. If I look at a nutrition label, the ingredient list is paragraphs long with all this crap that I can't pronounce. 9 times out of 10, I'm not putting it in my body. Of course, there are exceptions, but that's how I eat about 85% of the time. The other 15% is for going out, the occasional fast food, ordering in, going, to someone's house and they only have other options available, work having an event, with other options available. I'm not gonna not have anything from in settings that, only have certain things available. I'm just gonna not eat much, heavy on the moderation, heavy on the keeping things simple. I'm a picky eater anyway. I eat like a 5-year-old, and so it's not hard for me to eat pretty simple. I am big on seasoning food though. I did read in Italy it's more common to not use many seasonings because they believe in the actual flavor of the food itself. But I just add little pink Himalayan sea salt to things here and there when I cook. Regular table salt is horrible for you. I do not keep it in my house at all. I use organic stevia instead of sugar when I'm adding sugar to anything, or when I want to make anything sweet. I do not have coffee often. I've actually been drinking chai almost every day. I've been drinking Tazo tea organic chai. It is way stronger than the Awake English breakfast one. And so I like that. It has way more flavor. I tend to drink my tea with nothing added but raw honey every now and then. Maybe some milk here and there, but for the most part, I drink everything straight. Water, tea, coffee, sparkling water are my go-tos. To me, eating as fresh, organic, natural as possible is also romantic to me. The most romantic things are the things in its natural form, or as natural as possible. That's what we love about love and romantic relationships, being not just literally naked, but being naked and stripped down emotionally, mentally, being bare. I have that approach to most things in life. Less is more. Most things are more beautiful when there's no fluff, when there's no theatrics, when they're not, when there's just not too much going on. I'm thinking about like singers who are able to just sing a cappella, just their voice. Andrea Bocelli, I'm pretty sure that's his name. Such an Italian staple because he does that so well. Whenever I go to see Jon Batiste, my favorite parts of the show is when he just plays the piano. It's dark. It's just the sound of the instrument. Kenny G, the same thing with the saxophone. There's so much beauty in things when we just strip it all down and let things stand on their own. And this applies to art, food, habits, routines, and almost every aspect of life. Whenever I feel chaotic or feel all over the place, it is always because I'm doing too much or I'm trying to force something. I am big on putting in the effort and then sitting back, releasing control, surrendering, letting things happen, unfold, play out naturally, trusting God, trusting time, trusting the process. It's not always easy to do. It actually takes a lot of strength. It's usually harder to do less than it is to do more because it requires stillness. It requires more focus on one or just a few things rather than having your mind easily distracted in a million different places. That is it for this episode. I hope that you got some inspiration, some ideas for life outside of work. If you enjoyed it, make sure that you share, rate, and review this podcast. If you are listening on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up. It helps the show to continue to grow on all platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. It is my name, Mara Sullivan, and the handle is Thoughts by Mara. Also, if you are listening on YouTube, or even if you're not, go to the channel, comment on this video, topics that you would like me to cover. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.